This is Danny, aka Firebrand Fox, and it's Friday. Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. I'm so ready for it to be the weekend. Oh my goodness. It's been one of those weeks that has definitely just kicked me in the hiney with all of with like the project and everything that I was working on. So I am just tired. I am ready for it to be the weekend. I'm ready to just veg out. The only thing I have on my agenda so far is my sister and I are going to the grocery store tonight, and I'm going to call my girlfriend after we go to the grocery store tonight. So I have like some plans in the night. I know, like, whoa, so exciting, grocery store, and then like a Zoom call with my girlfriend. Oh my god, a Zoom call with my girlfriend. Sorry, my throat's been bothering me since I started streaming. I think it's like after all the not talking and then suddenly talking a bunch, my throat's just like, what are you doing? So there might be some intermittent coughing, so sorry about that. Um, but yeah, like it's like in a pandemic world, going to the grocery store and doing a video call with your girlfriend is those are big plans for a Friday night. Um, but really, I am excited for it to be the weekend. I am looking forward to not having anything planned. I'm looking forward to potentially just sitting around and playing video games all weekend. Really looking forward to that actually. uh, so yeah, and maybe I'll stream this weekend. If not Breath of the Wild, um, I am getting like a hankering to like do a challenge at my Jurassic Park game, so maybe I'll stream that. Because that'd be fun. Dang, I should have like downed a cough drop real quick before I started today. Oops. Oh well. It's fine. I'm also like really thirsty today. I don't really know why, so definitely need to drink more water. I've been better about drinking water though. I am try being the operative word there. I'm trying to lose some weight because, lol, pandemic bod, I've gained a decent amount of weight. And I would like to just try and lose some just for the sake of being healthier. For me personally, like I know diabetes like runs in my family and stuff, so I'm like, okay, cutting back on sweets, trying to exercise a little bit more. But in doing so, I am trying to not drink alcohol or soda on the weekend or on the during the week, and limiting what I consume on the weekends. And so far, I've only been doing it about a week, but the first week was very successful. I've only had one soda in the past week. Whereas before, I was drinking a soda pretty much every day. And I've only had one in the past week because my sister and I went and got we went to like a hot dog place, and I got a hot dog and fries, and I was like, okay, I'm getting a hot dog and fries. I gotta have a Coke with it, like. um, and then alcohol wise, last Saturday we got ramen, and with the ramen, we got like a little bottle of sake. So I did drink most of the sake. I didn't finish the bottle, but my sister definitely did not drink nearly as much sake as I had. Um, but like the overall amount I had doesn't have like a ton of calories, and it was only one day, so I'm doing pretty well. And I'm trying to just stick with that again because like I know that there are health concerns that do run in my family, and I'm like, I should be healthier about that. So it's been pretty good so far. But yeah, definitely drinking less soda. I have been drinking more water, but I probably just need to be drinking even more. because I am trying to, Monday through Friday, I'm trying to ride my exercise bike. Um, I try and ride my exercise bike at least 3 miles, which I know is like next to nothing, but one, the seat hurts my butt, and two, I am really, 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 really out of shape. So even a little something is better than nothing, and I'm hoping, getting into the routine of just doing a little bit 5 days a week will then be able to build into doing longer, more strenuous exercising. But baby steps. You can't just suddenly run a marathon after not training for it at all. So not quite trying to get to marathon levels or anything, but just trying to get back into consistently exercising and being more conscious of what I'm putting into my body. And another thing that I think that's helping too is I have an absolutely ferocious sweet tooth. I love sweets so much. And I don't want to eliminate them entirely because what's the point of me putting all these restrictions on like what I consume if I can't enjoy it. Um, I don't want to be miserable while I'm trying to lose weight. So, what I'm doing is I'm limiting myself to like one sweet treat a day. So, that's another way that I'm just trying to be like a little bit healthier. Is like trying. That's fine. He's out to run outside anyway. The points would have been nice, but he's over there anyway, so it's fine. Just trying to reduce my consumption of lots of sugars and stuff, and one sweet a day. That's that's definitely a reduction for me because I love sweets so much. Oh my gosh! Like anytime we go to the grocery store, they have all the baked goods there, and um, my grocery store like advertises like, oh look at all these baked goods, like $5, and it's just like, oh my goodness, $5 for a dozen cupcakes? Yes, please sign me up. I just want that. So um, it's definitely like we go to the grocery store and I'm like, normally I would be like, yes, let's get some cupcakes or some cookies or brownies or whatever, and I'm trying to not be like slipping those into the shopping cart. Because the less that I have in the house that is acting as a temptation, the better. I think now that like once it's Friday night and it's the weekend, I think my sweet treat for today is going to be a soda. I think I've got one more Code Red Mountain Dew sitting in the fridge down here, and that just sounds so good. Um, like not to be like stereotypical gamer, but like I don't like regular Mountain Dew's fine. In like a world of sodas to pick from, I'm almost never gonna go for a regular Mountain Dew by choice. There's damn it, I was laggy on getting that blue girl. That's unfortunate. I would have liked those points, but that's okay. I will never like go for almost never. Some occasions I'll go for a Mountain Dew. Like if I just every once in a blue moon I get a craving of like I just want a regular Mountain Dew. Um, or if I'm just feeling like a little sluggish and I know I have to like a lot to do that day, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do some caffeine. Which I don't even know if caffeine's actually like effective for me because I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed ADD. um, and I've never really noticed like much of an effect of I drink caffeine and I can't fall asleep. I don't think the caffeine is the cause of me being unable to fall asleep. I think it's the chronic insomnia more than anything else. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional. But like the placebo of, oh, I need some caffeine to get me going, and then getting a Mountain Dew and drinking the caffeine. But that was slow. That would not work on Springs 3. I would be dead on Springs 3. So like just a placebo of like, oh, Mountain Dew. But even so, most of the time if I'm going like I don't want to buy a 12 pack of Mountain Dew. So if I'm consuming Mountain Dew, it's usually like I'm picking up a bottle at a gas station or at the checkout at a store in one of those little coolers, and so like I'm just picking up an individual bottle, and usually they have um, some of the fun flavors if they have them there. So I almost never go for the default. I will go for a fun flavor. My favorite, which is the most basic of them, the Code Red. Uh, but it's so good. I love Code Red Mountain Dew. I like cherry flavored things. Like if you give me the option between a regular Coke and a cherry Coke, I'm gonna pick the cherry Coke 9 times out of 10. My favorite, I guess like my favorite soda that um like from like a major nationwide brand, cherry vanilla Dr Pepper. Love me cherry vanilla Dr Pepper. And when I say that, people look at me super weird and they're like, "What? You like what?" And I'm like, "Cherry vanilla Dr Pepper. It's so good." Anytime I go to like a Noodles and Company or something, and they have one of those Your Way soda machines where you can pick the kind of soda you want, and then you can add all the additional flavorings. Every time I'm like, cherry vanilla Dr Pepper, cherry vanilla Dr Pepper. Like I know I could try, all kinds of fun things that I normally wouldn't have access to, like, lime Fanta or whatever. No, cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper. Ah, damn it. It's my absolute favorite. I love it so much. Um, so, uh, so yeah, I'm just like, I love cherry flavored things. And Code Red Mountain Dew is no exception to that. It's also kind of nostalgic for me um, because in high school I played the baritone saxophone in the band, um, and gosh, like being in the band, if you were in the concert band, which was like the lower level band, you had to be in the pep band that played at basketball games, varsity boys basketball games. You had to be in the pep band, which like I'm sure the only reason they did that is because otherwise they wouldn't be able to get people to be in the heckin' pep band. And then if you were in the higher level band, you had to be in the marching band for football games. So I was in the pep band for 2 years, and like every time, I went during like a break, I would go to the concession stand and like I would get pretty much every game I would get popcorn and Coke. Fooey, I just like started inching up that ladder and I didn't realize it. Oops. I would get Code Red Mountain Dew and popcorn because they had a popcorn machine at the concession stand next to the gym, and um, I would go for it because the popcorn was always really, really salty, and I love salty popcorn. Like my girlfriend is an absolute popcorn fiend. Like she loves popcorn more than I've ever seen anybody love popcorn. She loves the stuff, eats it. Like anytime we go to a movie, it's a rule we have to get a popcorn, and I'm always like, well, why don't we just get the biggest one, split it? Oh jeez, oh jeez. I don't. I think if that wild barrel didn't hit me in the face, I would have eaten it on the barrel below me. I think I jumped too early. Um, but she loves popcorn. But even if we get a giant popcorn to share, I need to get like a separate bag for myself, like a little bag, because I just like to absolutely douse my popcorn in salt. She doesn't like it that salty. We agree on like the tons of butter. We agree on that part, but she does not like it as salty as I like my popcorn. So uh, have to get separate popcorns, and I'm convinced the reason I like salty popcorn is because that's what it was at the pep band games, and I had those, every Saturday from like December, January through March or whatever, however long the basketball season went. Um, and anytime I was like at like a school event and they had popcorn, I was always so like, yes, give me the popcorn. I want it. I want the popcorn that's extra salty, please. Um, but yeah, Code Red Mountain Dew, I would get that all the time when doing pep band. And it became kind of a thing that I would get to. I drank a lot of it in high school because um, I need to focus for a second. Okay. Oh damn! I went at the wrong one. Shoot! Ah! Game over. 84,000. That's very good. That's a solid run. Um, but yeah, like I ended up doing like a lot of stuff that kept me at the school late. Because I was on the speech team, I was on the yearbook, I was on the newspaper. So anytime that we had deadlines for newspaper or yearbook, that was at minimum a week of staying late to get things done. Newspaper usually wasn't as bad because that was like a lot easier and a lot less volume. But yearbook yearbook was the big one. Yearbook would be like 2 weeks leading up to the deadline, like staying late every day, and then like the night of the deadline you're there until at least midnight. Because I was the sports editor of the yearbook. How I got in that position, I don't really know. To be completely honest, I have no idea how I ended up being editor of the sports section of the yearbook. I don't know. It just kind of happened. Like a bunch of my friends were on yearbook. So sophomore year, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do yearbook. And they needed people to take pictures of sports, I guess. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then it turned into, well, you're editor of the sports section. And I was like, oh, okay. So it happened. I don't know. So that was wild. But and yeah, so like the yearbook room was just down the hall from the gym, so I would definitely take advantage of if there was like a basketball game or like a sporting event going on in the gym and the concession stand was open. I would definitely go and take advantage of it and get food. And even if there wasn't anything going on, there was like a couple of soda vending machines outside of the gym. So I would use those as well, just to again pump myself full of caffeine to get through, whatever publishing deadline was upon us. I spent a lot of time in that. It was the same room. It was the yearbook room and the newspaper room were in the same room because it was the one that had all the like Adobe software installed on the computers and had like the nice big tablet screens. Oh my god, go away! Go away! Maybe if I. Alright. Yeah, these guys are all bunched up here. Oh jeez, alright. Alright, let's see if I can clear some of these out. Alright. Make my life a little bit easier before this timer runs out completely. Or just die. That's fine too, I guess. Yeah, somehow I got into a tangent about high school yearbook and newspaper from Mountain Dew. Just I drank it a lot in high school, and so yeah, Code Red Mountain Dew just it hits the spot. Both like satisfying that like taste I crave and just like nostalgia. Remember when I drank this shit all the time? Absolutely. So yeah, I think that'll be my sweet treat tonight. Is Mountain Dew Code Red. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I just kind of fell into the extracurriculars I did in high school. Because like I didn't really want to do any sports, and I knew that going into high school. I just like didn't want to. I didn't want that much of a commitment. Speech team was the big thing that I did all 4 years of high school, and that was entirely on a whim. I saw um, I saw ads for like flyers that they had posted around the school, like speech team tryouts. They say tryouts. They never turned anybody away. It was just a matter of kind of getting a gauge for, you know, what your personality was and like what events you would be best suited for. They never turned anyone away from speech team, which I appreciated. You know, it was nice. But yeah, I just kind of like showed up and they're like, oh, okay, like, did you prepare anything? And I was like, nope. And they're like, oh, okay. And they're like, how about we just like give you a topic to talk about? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like that sounds good. Like, give me a topic. I'll go on about it for a couple minutes. And they're like, okay. And I don't even remember what the topic was, but they gave me something and, you know, I just rambled about it for a couple minutes and they're like, all right, you're going to do impromptu speaking. And that's what I did all 4 years. I dabbled in a couple other events. Like my freshman year was only impromptu. Sophomore year, they put me in a DDA with my buddy Snake. DDA stands for Dramatic Duet Acting. We do not speak of that year because I am not a good. I don't think of myself as a good actor, and I really didn't like that script very much. And it sucked. Like we did not have a good DDA. But then junior and senior year, I did special occasion speaking, so that was a prepared speech. And it's like you talk about, like you kind of give like a persuasive speech about a certain topic, and but like the way you frame it is that you're at a special occasion, like speaking to like a specific group of people. So you know, a lot of kids be like, I'm speaking to you, the PTA, or I'm speaking to you, the AP English class, or whatever. You know, a lot of people would format it that way. I don't even remember what like my special groups were. I remember one year I did a speech about like bullying and harassment, and then I did I think it was my senior, was it, I don't remember. I don't remember which one I did which year. But I had one that was about bullying, and I had another one that was about accepting comic books as literature and reading materials. That one was actually really fun because there's so much research out there that shows, like, hey, you know what? If you don't cram shit down kids' throats and you let them read whatever they want, their literacy goes up. Even if it's comic books, which have a lot of pictures. Like, if you let kids read comic books, their literacy goes up. And oh my god, I'm very passionate about comic books as like, you know, literature and legitimate reading materials. Because I'm firmly in the camp of, you know, if you want to get people to read, you shouldn't care like you know, you shouldn't necessarily like police what they. Oh, jeez, I just didn't hit the side and I got squished. Womp Mario sandwich. Ugh, that was not as good. That was only 25,000. Um, but I'm very passionate about comic books as like reading material. I think that they are a really great tool to have in classrooms. They are a great way to pull in reluctant readers and get them engaged with reading in some form. And then from like, even if they only read comic books, that's still good. Like they're still getting exposure to reading. They're still experiencing like new words, new storytelling devices, new stories. Like even just like strictly, if a kid only reads comic books, they are getting so much enrichment out of that that is just crucial to, you know, development. Um, so like comic books alone are amazing, but they also can act as a really great excuse me, stepping stool for literacy. So kids who don't have, you know, as high of a reading level, or who just aren't as engaged with reading, you know, if they get pulled in by a comic book and start reading comics, there's a there is not. I don't even know what the numbers are on this anymore because it's been so long, but like oftentimes, you know, if you get kids involved in reading comic books and enjoying reading in that form, it'll then translate to other forms of reading as well. So they might start off reading comic books, but then they'll move on to, you know, longer chapter books and novels, you know, stuff that doesn't have as many pictures. So, you know, maybe they'll go from a comic book to like an illustrated chapter book to like a novel without illustrations. Very much so, like stepping stones are a very real thing that does happen in classrooms and does happen with kids when they are encouraged to just read whatever they want to read. Because like I do see the importance excuse me, of you know, we're gonna read this book together as a class, and we're gonna look at, you know, themes, and we're gonna discuss like we're gonna read this book or like the short story together as a class. We're gonna discuss themes, and you know, like especially in grade school, like here, like what are some similes that are used in the story? What are metaphors that are used in the story? You know, I think it's important to do that as a class. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing well right now. It's important to do that as a class in order to, you know, build up their understanding of literary terms. Um, but then when kids are reading, you know, on their own, like if you have silent reading time in the classroom, yeah, you let the kids read whatever they want. And by letting them read whatever they want, that builds up the positive association with reading, because it's not just, oh, I have to read now. It's, I get agency and I get to choose what I want to read. And you know, for kids that's a big deal, because as a kid you don't necessarily have a ton of agency over your life, you know, like your parents, like you have to go to school and your school hours are set by the school. um you know, you have to eat what your parents tell you to eat. Like for dinner tonight, we're having asparagus and chicken or whatever. Like, you know, like in some cases, maybe, you know, kids are given like a choice. Like, okay, so tonight for dinner, you can have chicken nuggets or mac and cheese. Which do you want? And that gives them agency in some form. Um, but you know, for a lot of kids, they don't have the agency to, you know, 100% make choices of what they want to do when they want to do it. But with reading, that gives them an opportunity to do so. So, so I think it's really important just to encourage kids to read whatever they want to read, and that will make it a fun activity. It'll give them agency, and that'll lead them wanting to come back for more and to continue to do it. My dad's an elementary school teacher. He teaches fifth grade, and you know, he makes the kids, um, the kids have to, you know, part of their like daily homework assignments is they have to read something, and my dad tells them, you know, it doesn't matter if you read, you know, you're reading like a Harry Potter book, or if you're reading Sports Illustrated, or if you're reading the back of the cereal box or a comic book, like, or and he's like, say, he adds in the cereal box kind of like as a joke thing, but he's like, you know, it doesn't matter what you're reading. I just want you to read, and you'll fill out these reading logs, and the reading logs, you know, the kids like, you know, they can like just kind of like write a summary of what they read, or like they can do questions about like, you know, well, what does this mean? What's gonna happen? Like, you know, what's gonna happen next? Or they'll like make predictions. Like, I think so and so is going to do this in the next chapter, or you know, whatever. But the point is that the kids get to choose what they want to read. So my dad, you know, um, so my dad will end up seeing, you know, the kids in his class, like, books will go through in cycles. So like, like one kid will start reading, um, what one kid will start reading like Gregor the Overlander, and then like it'll be like a slow path of like that kid's friends reading Gregor the Overlander, so you can like tell when a book gets popular because like one kid will read it and then like you'll just see it kind of like cycle through a series of kids reading logs. Oh my god, I'm absolutely dying with this cough right now. Oh my goodness. God, I don't even have any water down here. Oh my goodness. So you'll see it like kind of cycle through. Like if a book gets popular, you'll see kids um kind of cycle through it. But then my he says he's got other kids who they just like they love reading nonfiction, so they'll just read like my dad gets he's got like classroom subscriptions for Sports Illustrated for kids and Time Magazine for kids and National Geographic for kids. So other kids will get like really into like the magazines and they'll read those, or like a kid really likes sports, so they just read Sports Illustrated and Sports Illustrated for kids. And then in their reading logs they talk about sports. And they go like, I didn't know this athlete did this or whatever. And apparently right now he's got a student who is reading all these books about cats and it's just like writing about different breeds of cats. And that's just so cool. Like, what a great opportunity to like let a kid just explore their interests, in a way that benefits them, and they don't even necessarily realize that it benefits them. To the kid, it's just like, oh, I think cats are cool. I want to learn about cats. I'm going to read about cats. But again, it's like giving the kid agency, and not only does it excite them about reading, but it excites them about learning, which is so important. Just the difference between a kid who is excited about learning and a kid who isn't excited about learning is so huge. Like, that has such an impact on like that has such an impact on kids, in terms of like how well they do in school, and not even just school, but like if they get excited about learning and continue to like learn and pursue special interests later on in life. That's like a really big thing. So it's also just cool to like you see kids get engaged with something and get excited about it. And then if you can like toss it in as, oh my gosh, if you can toss it in as the as like, well, you're doing this and this is technically part of your schoolwork, like it's cool. It's like, for school I get to learn about something that I'm excited about. Like when I was in middle school, we had to do um, like presentations on fads from the 1920s, and it could be anything that we wanted to talk about. Like, did it even have to be fads? I'm not sure. It might have just been like, you can just talk about anything from the 1920s. But I did I think it was fads. I think it was fads because like I think people talked about like pole sitting and stuff like that. But I did mine on food fads, so I learned a lot about root beer, peanut butter, and Pez. Was what I talked about, and did research on, and it was really interesting. And actually, um, last night I was playing trivia with my family, and the answer to one of the questions was Pez, and I knew it because I did this report, like 8th grade or whatever, um, which I had completely forgotten about until this question came up, and it was something like, um, what what popular candy, like what popular candy has an abbreviated name that comes from the German word for peppermint. And my family was like in the middle of a conversation or like talking about the previous question still, And I was just like, oh, it's Pez. And everyone was just kind of like, what? And I was like, oh, it's Pez. And oh wow, that was bad. We're just gonna let it run out. And I was like, yeah, like the German word is like uh fe- Fez for mince or something like that. But it's Pez. And my family was just kind of like, what? And my sister was like, yeah, Danny did a project on Pez in middle school, or like Danny did a project on Pez in school, and I was like, "You're right, I did do a project on Pez. I did in fact talk about food fads, and that's why I know a decent amount about Pez. So here's some fun facts for you. It was originally invented as a tool to help people quit smoking. Um, it was the original flavor was peppermint, and it was a mint that was supposed to help you quit smoking. So it came like you could you buy it in the similar fashion where they have like the little oh geez, this I'm just not doing well. Wow. Um, the Pez dispensers. So the Pez dispensers are like, I don't know if they came out at the same time. No, they didn't. Originally, they came in a tin similar to Altoids. But what they did to make it kind of more convenient and to kind of really push the smoking alternative aspect of it is that they made the Pez dispenser. And it's not the Pez dispenser that we all know and love with the fun cartoon characters on top. Um, but it was like a metal dispenser shaped like a lighter. So the idea is you have a craving to go to smoke a cigarette. You have a craving to smoke. So you reach for your Pez dispenser, which is shaped like a lighter. So you're still holding that familiar object and still getting that kind of like residual placebo of here is my lighter, I'm about to smoke a cigarette, but instead of smoking a cigarette, you eat a peppermint. um, so that's how it originated. And then I don't remember when exactly the fun flavors and the character heads came into play, but originally Pez was made as an alternative to smoking and came in a dispenser shaped like a lighter. So there's your fun random fact for the day. Courtesy of 8th grade Danny, who researched something completely random for fun when assigned to do a project on the Roaring Twenties. um, but that's the thing, and like my dad was joking, like, oh, that's a good old, that's your your school district education doing you good, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I remember significantly more about that presentation on Pez than I do math, so I guess good. But that's the thing, is that because it was a topic that I was interested in and actively sought out to learn about, within the constraints of this is a project for school, and um, you have to give like I don't know, what was it, you have to give a 5-minute presentation on this, within the constraints of that, but it was still research whatever you want, talk about it. So that's what I did. And that information still sticks with me. So, go and gosh, like I'm 28 now, so that would have been like 15 years ago that I had that assignment. So something that I learned 15 years ago is still just rocking around in my brain. That's pretty cool. um, considering I like the sheer amount of math that I know I learned and do not remember, that's pretty good. Yeah, math was not my forte. I was not a math kid. I'm pretty good at like basic mental math, but once I got to like kind of like algebra level, ooh, and I can do basic algebra. I can do basic algebra, and it's funny because like a lot of my friends are like with me being the liberal arts school product. Like went to liberal arts college, studied, you know, the studied the arts, whether it be English or writing or art. Like a lot of my friends fall or music. A lot of my friends fall into those categories. Uh, and like a lot of us can't do good math. um, like I'm not, as I said, I'm not very good at math, but like of a lot of my friends, I'm better at math than a lot of them, just because I do have pretty good proficiency at basic mental math, and like basic algebra. Like I can sit there and go, okay, so this costs this much. If this costs this much per unit, then whatever. Like I just heard stories about my friends who were working on booking a hotel room for ASUN last year, and apparently they were trying to figure out like how much the room was going to cost, and then how much that cost would be per person. And apparently it was like they were just so they just didn't they just couldn't do it. And I'm just kind of like, well, you look at, okay, here's what the cost is going to be per night. Oftentimes, with convention weekends, if you're getting a hotel room Thursday, it might be less expensive Thursday than more expensive Friday, Saturday. So you look at the cost, for each night and how many people are staying in the room, divide it by that, add up the costs for each night and divide it by number of people. And you also have to account for sales, account for tax, which thankfully, like for Anime Central, that's in Cook County, and Cook County taxes are about 10%, so it's like a pretty easy assumption. Just go, okay, 10%, boom, boom, boom. But yeah, apparently they just really struggled with the math, and I was like, oh, okay, guys. And they're way better at other things than I am. You know, but like I just heard that and I just had to laugh because I was like, I don't even think I'm that good at math, but I can do that math. um, wee bit of a confidence boost on that one. I was like, oh, I can do that. Considering I consistently tell myself I am not good at math, I just don't have an interest in it. Not in the same way as like writing or art or even history. Even history, I care significantly more about than math. I just don't like math. And I was fine with math throughout throughout elementary school. It was just like middle school, one, it started getting hard, and two, like I just hit like a series of not great math teachers. And that did not help the situation at all. Like I absolutely hated my freshman year geometry teacher. I absolutely hated her. I could not stand her class. And then I got her again junior year for trigonometry, and I was like, are you kidding me? I was so happy when I was, because like freshman year I did terrible at math. Junior year algebra, or sorry, sophomore year algebra, I did better. I had a better teacher. It was more engaging, and it like made more sense to me. And then junior year trigonometry had my same freshman year teacher, and I was like, oh my god. And it was a struggle. I hated her so much. Like I hated her. Like I just like it's one thing if I don't like if a teacher, I don't like their teaching style, because like that's certainly the case with like my freshman year biology teacher. I did not like her teaching style at all, but she was like a nice person. At least nice enough. And like, the rest of the time through high school, if we encountered each other in the halls, like she would say hi and would like be genuinely like, oh, how are you doing? I'd be like, oh, you're good. So even though I didn't like, her teaching style in the class, it's like, oh, we were still able to, like I still respect you enough as a person that I'm going to do all your bullshit work. But that was not the case for my math teacher. I hated her. I absolutely hated her. She did not. I don't want to say she didn't know how to teach, because like, and I said this in high school, and I still stand by this. I don't think she was meant to teach high school. She treated all the students kind of like kindergartners. I think she would be a great kindergarten teacher. Jeez, those guys just came down right away from me. But like I think she would be a great like elementary school teacher or like kindergarten teacher. But she taught high school math. Um, and it was just like the way that she treated us. Like she just treated us like we didn't have agency and ugh, God damn it, fucking go to the side, Mario. Jesus. Ugh, I hate it when I get multiple deaths on the same board, especially in stupid ways like this one's been. Ugh. God, this run was so good up until this pie factory. Um, yeah, I really did not like her. Um, and I definitely think that my effort or lack thereof that I hesitated. Oh my god, oh, I hate this. Ugh. Not as much as my freshman year math teacher though. Um, um, yeah, the moment that I like saw that she was my teacher for trigonometry, I was just like already defeated. I was like, I'm not gonna learn anything, and I didn't. I don't remember anything from trigonometry, and that like led into like pre-calc A, I think. Don't remember any of that. None of it whatsoever. Do not remember. Um, any geometry I know is geometry that like I learned in elementary school or middle school. So like I can like do some basic computations for like area, perimeter, etc. But nothing outrageous. Um, yeah, she just sucked. And like I know teaching is hard. I know teaching is hard, but it's not for everybody. And also, I know teaching is hard. I taught. Um, I've worked as a teacher in Japan. I worked as a swim instructor for many years as a summer job. Um, like teaching is hard, and it is not for everybody, and that's okay if it's not for you. That's totally fine. Um, and yeah, I honestly think she was just teaching like the wrong subject, the wrong grade level. I think she would be a great kindergarten teacher. I really do. But I, as a 15-year-old, did not want to get treated like a kindergartner in my math class. And I was in advanced math too. Like, that's the other thing, is that I was smart enough to be in advanced math, which, is something that I often forget when I'm like, LOL, I'm bad at math. Is that, like, I took advanced math throughout high school. So that's probably part of it too, is, taking high level math and struggling with that. Ugh. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. I managed to hit level 4. It's not fantastic. Like, it's not a great score, but I hit level 4. Said something. Um, Better than nothing. Oh my gosh. That was such a bad jump. That was such a bad jump. Alright. I gotta end it there. This has been a longer one. I do need to, like, tie up some loose ends at work before I can clock out and officially be like, it's the weekend! I'm close, though. I'm close, though. I'm actually thinking about it, and I don't really have that much else to do, but I should get back to work. So thanks for coming by and listening to me rant about the educational system. Because I didn't expect that to become the topic today, but that's what I get for talking about my diet. I I will say sometimes I'll watch these back just to like remind myself what did I talk about in this one. I'll watch them back, and I love the fucking flow of conversation that happens in my brain and then out through my mouth for the world to consume. Um, um, that's just how my train of thought process works. So yeah, thanks for coming by. Hopefully I will do a stream at some point this weekend. If I do, I will make sure I have water and copious amounts of lozenges nearby to prevent me from coughing. Like I know it's entirely a throat cough. It's entirely I have a tickle in my throat from talking a little bit of dry mouth. Like it's no congestion in any of my sinus passages or my lungs or anything. It's just I have dry mouth, dry throat from talking. So if I do stream this weekend, which I would like to do, either Breath of the Wild or Jurassic Park, we'll see what I'm feeling. But one of those I think is what I'll try and stream. And I'll try and do like a longer form stream where I stream for a couple of hours, equipment and throat permitting. So I'll definitely try and do that at some point this weekend because I think that'd be fun to do again. So look for that. I'll post on Twitter, and obviously if you follow me here, then you'll get a notification when I do it. But I'll try posting it on Twitter. Same handle as here, Firebrand Vlogs. So thanks for coming by, and I'll see you next time.